this is Big for Life, and we're going to be reviewing Mastermind Creations reformatted line R-36 Inventa, the strategist. This is, I guess, I still don't know what the bird portion of Sky Lynx is called. I'm guessing it's not Sky, but we're just going to say the dinobird portion of their Sky Lynx. Combined, he'll be Magna Inventa. But here he is in this huge box. I have trouble actually keeping it in frame, obviously, but you can see just how large it is compared to, say, an MP10 trailer. So it's longer than an MP10 trailer, taller than an MP10 trailer. So it's quite huge. Really nice renders. On this side, we get a little bit of the head. This side, same thing. The picture actually wraps around two sides of it. On the back, you get him in his nice shiny teeth, smiling at you. I guess that's the bottom technically. And then at the top, you see him in his various modes. He is a triple changer, and then you'll see him attached to Magna to form his various Sky Lynx alt mode and dinobird mode, whatever you want to call it. He does have LED eyes, which is a nice addition. Out of the packaging, he does come with Inventa himself, as well as his instructions / comic books. And he does also come with a little insert that tells you how to install the batteries for both Magna and Inventa. They both use AG2. I know he uses 2. I believe he uses 2 as well. I gotta remember. Or you can check back on my review of Magna. In addition to that, he does come with this little cell phone tool, which they suggest you use to pry open those pieces, and then these little screw hole covers. So I'm not really sure what these are for. I actually checked with the marketing guy at MMC, and he wasn't sure yet either. I think it might be for those optional modifications if you wanted to make to tighten some of the screws in the neck, but I couldn't figure it out, and it wasn't very obvious. But I don't think you'll really need these unless your particular figure is way looser than mine. He does come with 2 plastic cards. He does come with Inventa by himself, and then he comes with a combined Inventa Magna. I thought they were calling Magna Inventa, but I guess not. And then the stats on the back. Okay, so let's throw this off to the side. We're not going to need any of that. This little clamshell, plastic clamshell, you just open it up, and you can see he's partially mistransformed to get him into a more compact box, and still it was a huge box as we saw earlier. To get him into his alt mode, just go ahead and rotate this around. And then you're going to want to close the 2 sides, the 2 wings. There we go, and they have pretty beefy tabs to keep everything locked into place. So there he is, and let me actually change the brightness just a little bit. Oh, the wrong way. There we go. As you can see, he does look very nice in space shuttle mode. He does have bits of articulation here, like the vertical stabilizer rudder or whatever you want to call it. I don't think anything back here works. He does have landing gear, so if you open this up, maybe get a little spudger to help get this started, or your fingernails. And you can get his landing gear out on the back, as well as the front. All right. In addition to that, he does have some additional playability. I don't know why this is not closing. Oh, there we go. He does have double hinged shuttle bay doors, which you open up. They're a tab in here, and then you have a little tiny arm, which I think I showed before as well in my last review here. It's a little arm with a little grabby hand. So when you're going your spacewalk, he can grab you. It does rotate as well. We did close that up. It does have an additional joint here, as well as 1 open claw. And then when you close it up, make sure it's tucked all the way in, so that you can use these double hinges again to close up the bay doors. All right, taking a quick 360 look at Inventa. He looks quite nice. He has a lot of nice paint details, some gold here, some silver or gunmetal here, as well as some translucent windows for the cockpit. I'm not really sure about his design. I don't know if this is an authentic shuttle, but he is pretty long, and I think that is pretty accurate to the Sky Lynx that we know and love. But somebody who's a big NASA fan or space fan might be able to tell me exactly how accurate this is or not. Bringing in Magna to get him into combine mode. Remember, in his kind of shuttle mode carrier piece, you want him kind of oriented like this with a little diagonal bend on the side. This should be kind of parallel to the ground. And how it will work is this I-beam piece right here will slide into here, and then these kind of hook pieces will tab in right here. So remember to do the I-beam first, like that, and then push down on the back, like so, and you're good to go. You can see him shuttling around like this on his nice little rolly wheels. There's really nothing else to really talk about this mode though. So to get him off, you just want to pull up and just slide back on that I-beam, and we're good to go. But yeah, as far as transformation goes, we can close this up, close these up, and start transforming. First, we'll start off in the back here. We're going to open up this cockpit. We need to do that because we need to get this tail to flip up. And to do that, we need to untab here, and this will release there as well. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. Oh, so this entire tail section is going to fold out, and this top thruster is going to open up like this. And this is one of the sections where I'm not very comfortable with it, in the sense that I think they could have done a better design here. But you basically have to just kind of force this clear. There's not a lot of room, and you're basically just pushing stuff out of the way to get it cleared. Once you do that, you can go ahead and close this up. Tab this back in, and flip up this section. This will be the gap filler. You're then going to pull down the feet, like so. And then you can go ahead and close this back up. So you're going to close up the sides, flip this down, and these two sections here will come back and around to tab in and hold that into place. You can then close this up. And you can straighten out the legs. And then you have the dino feet or bird feet that are die cast. You're going to have to get in underneath them. It's a little hard even with this little notch, so I just use a little spudger, get that up and around, spread out the toes. And then lastly, these hips, I guess, are on a slider. It's hard to kind of get at it, but if you just rotate the leg, they'll show you that it creates a gap there. So coming to the wing, which we'll transform next, you're going to want to pull out on the blue sections perpendicular to the body, and then unfold this section. These little nubs here have corresponding holes, have corresponding nubs here. And then once you actually have this spread out, you can actually pull and have a little curvature to it. You do want to untab the body as well because you're going to need this clearance for parts of the neck. So let's explain that again. On this side, go ahead and pull on the blue part to get it pulled out parallel to the body. Well, you're pulling perpendicular to the body, and then unpegging these, and then you can curl this out to get a little bit of curvature. You can leave it in like this if you want. It really gives you a lot of options, but this is kind of like the G1 option. And then lastly, once again, you want to untab this entire joint to give you a little bit of wing action, but also because you're going to need that for some clearance on the neck. So coming up to the front, you're going to untab two sections here. Well, I guess technically three. You're going to come back on this double hinge. That's going to tab in back here. And this one will also collapse and tab in over here and here, like so. For the head, you're just going to pull out on that until it extends all the way. You're going to split these two halves, and these will tab in on the side like here. And that's why you need to pull the wings out earlier. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do that. And then you can rotate these wings however you'd like. The neck, you're going to untab here is a little over-under hook. this will come up and underneath, kind of closer to the head, and these two side pieces are on little arms that you want to rotate backwards, like so. Okay? And then lastly, you can open his mouth. After you open up the dino mouth, which can open really far, like really far, in here while we're here, you can see that there's a little door here at the top. You can use that little tool that it comes with, or a little spudger, and open that trap door. And you'll see that the AG2 batteries, 2 of them go in here, and it's flat side facing the right side of his head, if you're facing the right direction, or as I'm showing here, the orientation up. Alright, so the flat side will go up. And to activate that, there's a little switch on the back that you press that turns his eyes a mean red. Which again, they did that with their Magna too, and I don't really know why they decided to go red. Maybe just because it's more visible, but anyway, there we go. And we do have Inventa in his alt mode, or I guess his bird mode, as opposed to his ship mode. But yeah, he's obviously very long. The segments of his neck, they came out early and said that you might have to do some fixes on that. I don't have any issues with mine. Mine's pretty tight, except one joint is a little bit looser, like this middle joint is a little bit looser than the rest, but it more than holds poses just fine. And each segment goes up and down, as well as side to side, which is built into the neck itself. So you can get a lot of range of motion. His neck up front here is on a double swivel, a hinge and a swivel. You can even go sideways like this, or upside down if you'd like. The gun in his mouth is articulated on a hinge, so you can go up and down, can kind of hide it. His wings are ratcheted up and down, as well as all the way around. So this is the G1-ish orientation, but if you want, you can rotate it the other way. It really doesn't matter, it's up to you. I guess this is the more reformatted design, but if you want more G1, you can go like this. And that's the same for combined mode as well. So coming to his tail, he also has a ratchet at the base of the tail, but he has friction joints at every segment. And again, these are all tight for me, so I'm not really sure if there's a concern there. I think maybe what you can do is like pop one of these open. Yeah, there we go. So I guess that's what these extra segments were for, or button filters were for. If you want to tighten these up in the tail, you can just pop that open with that little slot. I heard from the ones up here, you actually have to do some drilling into these fillers. So I think once you drill through them, obviously because you can't easily pop them out, you're going to want to fill that. And that's what the extra pieces are for. There's also a white piece, but I'm not really sure what the white piece is for. But yeah, anyway, here he is in his huge alt mode, and he stands pretty well. Other articulation we've already kind of gone through. The wings can kind of curl around, go up and down. The neck we've already talked about, the tail. Even the tip can move around like so. The legs are ratcheted at the base, but also at the knee and at the ankle. He has like a thigh swivel, slight swivel. But you get a lot of pretty good range of motion. His heel claw can go up and down, and then these front claws, heel claw can go up and down. And then the front first and third claw, I guess, can splay out to the side. And then this entire first section here can move up and down as well. He does have ankle tilts, which is nice. So like I said, for a figure this kind of large, he can be very posable and dynamic and pretty fun. All right, so let's get him into his combined mode, I suppose. The first thing we'll do is really just flip this around. So that's what they recommend for the reformatted one. Again, it's really up to you, but I'm just going to show you just the different orientation you can do. Just flip that all the way around. Make sure this is all tabbed in. On the back, on the belly here, you're going to untab come on, and untab this. We're going to rotate it around, and it's going to sit like this, and this is going to tab in. All right, this is on the slider, so make sure you have this pulled all the way down, and we'll show how that goes in a bit. For the feet, you're going to have to retransform them into shuttle mode, so you're going to have to open these doors. You might have to clear these out of the way. To open the doors, pull up on the back, open this up, and the feet will go in. So the feet need to be oriented like this. Like this. And remember, you're going to want to slide these hips, I guess, quote unquote hips, back inward on that sliding joint so that they clear in properly. So you'll see a little bit of red and a little bit of blue. Sorry about the video work. Obviously with a figure this big, it's very challenging to get them all on screen and still accurately show what I'm trying to show. When you fold this up, remember these two prongs will go in between each of the toes. So if you're getting a little bit of interference, just check that. Close that up. Pull this down. Close up the shuttle doors. And bring these side pieces back and tabbed in. And we're pretty much ready to go. So let's go ahead and bring in Magna in his transform mode. All right, bringing in Magna. Make sure you have him kind of in the same kind of orientation that we did with shuttle mode. Remember, he can extend here. You want that collapsed, and you want him to have this kind of orientation with that little curvature on the back. And as we showed before, the same way, we're just going to slide this I-beam piece in first. I can do it, and then this back piece here will tab in, and there we have that. The only thing we'll have to do here is that there is a pretty beefy kind of like tab here. You'll see that there's a tab here and a corresponding slot there, so we want to get that in. And then we're going to wrap this piece around, and you'll see that there are two tabs on the front here that go to these pieces here, like so. It kind of sits like that. Sorry, I wish I could show it off a little bit better than this, but like I said, it's a real challenge with a figure this large. But with that, unfortunately, this is as good as I can show you guys as far as their Magna Inventa goes. He looks really great. I do think the way that they tell you to transform his legs with it fully extended makes him look kind of goofy. I'm not really about him being my masterpiece Sky Lynx, so I have no problem just like collapsing his legs down to make it, I think, a little bit less lanky and weird and gangly looking. So I'll show you what I mean. Just by collapsing those lower portions of his legs, I think he looks a little bit better. You can see I collapsed the lower portions here as opposed to this side, which his legs are extended and look, you know, honestly kind of goofy looking. But depending on where you want them in your collection, again, you can flip these wings around before you combine them if you want more of a G1 type look, or not. So you have a lot of options with both the upper and lower body. All right, let's go ahead and transform this guy back into his various modes and then finish off the review as usual. So let's go back into his bird mode first, I guess. Again, we'll just leave his wings like this just to show you what it looks like if you want it in kind of like the non-G1 mode. We're going to go ahead and untab these sections on the front, open these doors, get those up, and then that will allow us to get the feet out once again, even though we're going to put them right back in. But to be complete, I wanted to show that off. Close this up. Bring these pieces down to lock in the rear section. The only other changes we're going to need to make are on the bottom here, which are to rotate this around and collapse them like so, and then spread out the sliding joints on the legs. Come on. There we go. And then reposition these pieces at the top. So we have him back in his bird mode temporarily. And then let's go back into shuttle mode. So we're just going to undo what we just did, which is silly again, but we're doing that just to be complete. Bring his feet back like this. Fold his heel in. Remember again to slide that hip joint inward, and then rotate this entire piece up. Same thing on the other side. And at the knee, then at the ankle. Slide that knee joint, that hip joint in. Bring this up. Get these two fork pieces between the feet. And for the shuttle mode, for the shuttle mode, we're gonna actually have to do a little bit more. We're gonna have to flip this down, open this door up, bring this tail all the way through, being very careful. So for this section, when we collapse the tail up, remember to have this collapse all the way down, not like this, but like this. Then we're gonna kind of fold this all up into a compact piece like this. Come on. So it forms into like a rectangle. All right. So that's going to go right between the legs. Like so, getting those forks between the toes. This piece is going to have to clear here first before you can close this up. Before you can bring these tabs down. Come on. There we go. And then this piece, this vertical stabilizer piece tabs in right there to a small slot, and then a couple tabs on the front, like so. All right. All right, let's close up the shuttle doors. Flip the wings around. Uncurl the wing, and that will allow you to slide that back into the body. This piece will come around, and these little nubs will go into these nub pieces. We need to get this out of the way first, like so, and then we're going to collapse them in, the wings in, and tab them into the body. But let's go ahead and do the other wing as well first, before we try to do all that. There we go. And the wings again, as we showed at the very beginning, just squeeze them in and do tab in all along the side here. All right, so for the front, we want to pull this neck piece back out, rotate these side neck sections forward. This neck piece will come back and tab into place, right there. We straighten out the neck like so. Then we're going to collapse the entire neck section. Much, but there we go. Like that. These two neck sections will come forward and tab in together. And then this bottom section will go ahead and make use of all these double hinges to go ahead and collapse up, and they tab in all along the bottom side. There we go. And there's a lot of tabs holding this in place, so it's pretty secure, but it can be kind of a pain. And there we go. There we have him in shuttle mode. We'll go ahead and put out his landing gear and talk about final thoughts. So, final thoughts. Everybody's been pretty excited. We haven't had a Sky Lynx, except for that Combined Wars one, in a long time. So it's great to actually have one. It's nice that they keep their own reformatted spin on it while still giving you some G1 options. But it's not a masterpiece. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, masterpiece Sky Lynx is not really going to be that big. But I think it does have a place on your shelf, especially with your reformatted line, or maybe in a classics line. It might be a good fit for your classic size. But if you want them on your masterpiece shelf, I don't think anyone's going to stop you. So I don't know what's going on with this section here. This should be closed up nice and tightly. In any case, I think it's a nice figure, a really nice addition, and I don't know how many other Sky Lynxes we're going to have. I think Gigapower showed one off, or hinted at one, or maybe that was Vance Toys, or maybe both. But we haven't seen hide nor hair of any other Sky Lynx in the works. So I would say, if you're into Sky Lynx, like I think a lot of us are, this is a really good place for your money. So if you want to add this guy to your collection, please go ahead and click on the link to Toy Dojo in the description below and help out my sponsor. And if you guys like the review, please give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer that as soon as possible. Hopefully you guys like it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Have a good one.